I do believe nice guys finish last, and let me explain.
Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to our second series where we will be giving life advice regarding sticky situations as well as reacting to some of the more controversial things that we've seen and heard of.
All right, so we're going to kick it off with dating in New York and just broadly dating in general, given both of us live here and we have gone through that experience. And we know it's a very common topic for people here. So we have a few dating scenarios that we're going to talk about and answer some common questions about. What would you say are your top 3 biggest advice points for someone going into dating?
Dating in general?
Yeah, and maybe you can add in like specific to New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Know what you want out of the experience.
Yeah.
So, I feel like a lot of people don't know. So then, like, you are wishy-washy about, oh, do I want someone casual? Oh, do I want someone long-term? But I feel like just knowing that going into the experience will, like, save yourself a lot of time. Know what your non-negotiables are. So, like, height, income, personality, values, things like that. And then last one is don't waste your time. So if you feel like he's a waste of time, if you feel like he doesn't schedule things, or if your schedules don't align, just cut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think know yourself. That's probably one of the biggest things to know going in, in my opinion. Like knowing what your boundaries are, knowing what your values are, because then you'll attract the right person.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. What about specific to New York?
Make sure he's within a 40 to 50 minute commute of you. Otherwise, it's basically long distance, and you don't want to waste your time with that.
There's, of course, various modes of dating. And in New York, there's, of course, the classic, like, meeting in person through friends. And then another common way is through activities that you do and you meet large groups of people. And then there's also the online dating through dating apps. And interestingly, both of us have had different experiences meeting our significant others. Grace actually met her significant other in person through mutual friends, and I met through dating apps. So we could talk about that. So I'm actually curious. Tell us about your experience meeting your SO in person.
Yeah, I think when they are vetted for you by like a mutual friend. Yeah. I think like if you are a decent mutual friend, they'll know your prerequisites. So it like saves a lot of time. I feel like at least like filtering in the first or second dates, because sometimes when you are on the dating apps, like in the first and second dates, you have to filter out a bunch of things in terms of like lifestyle, values, height might not be accurate on the dating apps. So I feel like that saved a lot of time. And then, yeah, I think that's the benefit of having a friend introduce you.
Did you also date on apps too?
I did, but I was not very successful. Yeah.
I'm curious, like, your learning experiences, which we could talk about. And I can talk for a bit about my experience with the dating app too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the apps are quite brutal. Like, you have to be so ruthless about your time, like, being filtered. Like, first you have to be really ruthless about who you even, like, swipe on and, like, prioritize on. And then they have to like you too and be interested enough in you too. And then you both have to, like, commit to, like, meeting again and again, like, on the app or, like, via it's, like, so tough, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the thing with apps is it kind of takes away, like, the romantic side of dating in a sense, because at least in early stages, you're kind of, like, just seeing a bunch of profiles, seeing a bunch of people, and people tend to blend in a lot with each other. And when you're going on dates, like, they typically are very similar. Like, they might take you on a coffee date, and, like, from a guy's perspective, like, they're just trying to, like, also find that person. And so the first date for them might be really similar as well. So it does take out some of the romantic side of dating. But that was how I met my significant other, and I have met a lot of friends who have had success stories. And so nowadays, I think it is a very common way to meet someone.
I mean, dating is pretty much a numbers game at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think the approach is correct. It just is a bit brutal.
Yeah. Especially if you're doing it for months and months and months.
Yeah, it's really rough.
But with that in mind, I'm curious, like, thoughts on, like, tips for dating in the apps. Because I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this as well, where it's like, is there a way to make it easier to make that brutal experience just less, you know? And so curious what your thoughts are.
Well, I think a couple of things that are beneficial with apps is that you can filter on like hard requirements. So like you can filter on like height, you can filter on like appearances. So like because you have that ability, you should filter on those as much as you can before you get to like the personality piece and the values piece at like the first or second date, because why waste your time. And then the other thing is to not take it personally, because like sometimes you can go on really good, like in your opinion, like pretty good dates with like people, and like maybe they will just not be interested, and like it's really not personal, and you should probably think of it as saving yourself time and energy.
Yeah. And I think the other good thing too is, especially when you're in a city like New York, you just have so much volume that you can see in a dating app that you won't have as much opportunity with if you try to meet in person or meet people in person. So that's also a big benefit. So it makes it easier to swipe through and get like the checklist items down first. And I actually remember when I first started dating, it was my first time using the dating apps, and I asked Grace, like, what are tips that you have for using the app? And she's like, just optimize for attractiveness. Find the person you're attracted to first, and then meet them, and then figure out their personality.
Yeah, because they can be unattractive and have a horrible personality. Yeah. Anyways, so like at least filter out the first thing so that you have less time wasted on this whole process. Yeah, you
already find the attractive person in the app. So and I think that is actually something that people like girls talk about. It's like, should I kind of sacrifice this element if their personality is good? And I think like there's so much volume of people in the world that you will find the person that is both attractive and has the right personality for you.
Don't settle.
Yeah, and don't settle. I think that's the number one thing. Don't settle for someone, because there's just so much abundance, you know?
There is this like mathematical thing about dating where I think it's like you should date. So if you think about how many people you have potential to date, there's something mathematical about like after you get through 2/3 of that number, you should like settle down around that number and like pick out of those people at the 2/3 mark.
I see. So say like you were talking to 10 people, like you should figure out like around 6.
I think it's about how many people you can meet like before you are going to like how many people you can meet total, and then you think about, so like say you feel like you can meet like 60 people total during your dating phase. You should probably stop at the 40 people mark, or like start doing some selection around the 40 people mark. Something about how like the previous ones you were like testing out, and like then you know what you want, and like you've probably optimized for what you can at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, common reasons that people find dating hard here.
I think people take it personally. It's hard not to take it personally. Like rejection, the price of going on dates, the time commitment of going on dates, like, I don't know. What do you think? Yeah,
I think, so this is what my personal opinion is. I think a lot of people blame it on the guys, which I no doubt believe that there are terrible guys here. But there also are a lot of good guys. And I think part of it is, I think the girls should also really understand who they are before they enter this journey.
Okay, like, give an example.
Like,
where it was the girl's fault.
So I think, for example, like, say a girl like came out of like a very toxic relationship, and they have a lot of baggage that they're carrying around with them. Like, they victimize themselves, and they're like, oh, like, he broke up with me because of XYZ things. And then they immediately jump into dating again without really fully processing that prior relationship and where like things went wrong, where they could personally develop more as a person, or even really understand what their values are. And a lot of people just jump into the next thing, like next relationship one after the other, and they're carrying a lot of this baggage with them. And in the same way, because they haven't really understand the type of person they want, they're also gravitating towards other toxic men that maybe have very similar characteristics as their prior person. And so it's kind of like an endless cycle where girls are just constantly in the cycle of finding the wrong people, and creates this perception like, oh, dating is so hard, the men here are so difficult, like they all are non-committal. But I would argue that there's so many men that also have like good heads on their shoulders. They're great people, but that type of person isn't gravitating towards them because they have all this baggage that it's like an aura that anybody can see when they're dating them.
Yeah,
so
you can tell when people have baggage. It's
the insecurity, like it's very obvious.
You can't deal with it.
Yeah. People come to you based off what you put out into the world, and the good people will come to a good person. And like, yeah.
I don't believe that though.
Really? What do you think?
I was like not a secure person, and then I became a secure person. I think my significant other is just super secure, like actually probably too secure. I don't know why he's that secure, but like yeah
but you probably had the fundamentals.
I think, right? I had like I was not like insecure in the sense of like my personality was insecure, like it was my attachment style that was not secure.
What do you mean? Can you share?
Well, don't you know about like the different attachment styles, like secure, avoidant, what is the last one? Anxious, yeah. So I think obviously you were like a secure person. Like I feel like that was very obvious from the moment I met you. Maybe it was different like from before, but it was just so low drama. But I think I was like a very highs are high, lows are lows person for a while. And then I would like during like dating, it would also like it would be like taking things personally or things like that, and like I would characterize that like as anxious to avoid it. Yeah.
But did you know the type of person that you wanted?
I think so.
And did you carry like did you have like at least outward confidence, or not really?
Yeah, I feel like I've always been like confident in my person. It's just like the way that I approach relationships.
I see. So I think that's what a lot of guys gravitate to, or people in general gravitate to, this feeling of confidence and knowing who you are, even if that person, like who you are, is like a more chaotic person. Like as if you know that about yourself, then and you're owning that, then I feel like
at least you know that. Like I think people
respect that.
Yeah, people respect that you know yourself.
Right.
Yeah. It's very hard when you don't know yourself to like date, I think, because you're constantly changing. So how do you expect anyone to get to know you?
Yeah. And I feel like given that you had that, you probably had the toxic man radar on. Like you knew you wouldn't have gravitated towards a toxic person.
Yeah. I think it's obvious when people are... I think it becomes quite obvious when people are toxic. And it's just like a waste of your time.
I don't think anyone should sacrifice their values for a relationship. And if it so happens that the person that you're with isn't fulfilling those values, then might as well be single and work on yourself until you find that person that matches you. Yeah.
And I think the longer you work on yourself, the higher value you are in the dating market.
Yeah, because it shows. Yeah, it shows.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the other good tip I have about dating is roster dating.
Okay.
So, and basically the meaning behind roster dating is you're not limiting your options to just one person when you're in that early stage of like meeting people. Because I think the problem with that is if you meet someone that you like and you're not sure about their feelings toward you, it's really easy to get really deeply emotionally invested and get onto that roller coaster of like, oh my God, does he like me? What kind of things do I need to do to make him like me? And it just becomes a cycle and a spiral. And so I think meeting multiple people and like having a list of people that you're seeing helps regulate that emotion a lot. And that's what I found beneficial. And I think the other upside is it really helps you understand the type of person that you would want, because you're seeing all these different characteristics and you're evaluating like them against the other person. And so it helps you understand like what is the type of person I want to date long term, and help you decide on which one you'd want to pick in the end. So I definitely recommend dating on a roster so that you can find that faster. Yeah, so I think the biggest benefit for me was actually just the emotional regulation, because story time, like after my breakup, the first person that I dated, it was the only person that I was dating for a while, and I just became like at night I'd be like, oh my god, like what did I do? Yeah, and then it was just very unhealthy, like and I think it shows on the outside too, because then you're like, when you ask the guy questions and you're like, and it's very obvious to them that it seems more desperate, for example. And I think when you have more options, it creates this feeling of like, yeah, like it's fine if it doesn't work out, like that guy can tell, you know.
I think the number one tip that I have is never give desperate energy.
Never give desperate energy,
because that is just like such a turn off, I think. For anyone, like it is just no bueno. But I agree with the roster philosophy. How big should your roster be before it becomes too hard to manage?
This could vary. I personally think
if you're very organized, it could be very
honestly, if you're organized and you have a lot of time on your hands, then it could be very large. But not all of us have time on our hands. Like I remember when I was dating, like I was juggling work, my friends, hobbies, and so I think at most was like 3 for me. Like that was too much.
I think the constraining variable is basically how much time you're able to spend on dating. Yeah. For how big your roster could be. And your organization skills. But assuming that one's okay, then like it's your amount of time.
Agreed. I think the other thing that I learned out of this too is like going back to the whole desperate thing. I think the more that like a girl or like one person can really give off that confidence that like, man, I don't actually need this. Like in that sense, it kind of creates this like aura to the other person. Like, oh, it's like something that they need to chase in a way, right? Like, I think for me, when I was dating, it was helpful to have my own life going on, that I wasn't like desperate to find someone, that it was very obvious to the other person, and it made it more clear to me like who was like the most like reliable and persistent and confident person in themselves. And I think that kind of helped gravitate like the right person toward me. All right, so some common spicy topics that people have talked about are around ghosting. So I'm curious, when should you ghost, if ever?
I think it's okay to always ghost. I think like maybe let me think about it. Like I think if you have gone on like 8 to 10 consecutive dates with this person, you can ghost.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like less than 8 to 10.
Oh, less than 8 to 10. Okay.
If you've done like 8 to 10, maybe you should tell them. I think 20, you should probably text them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? Like, why not just be like, I'm not interested, and then leave it at that? Like, instead of just completely not responding.
Because you don't owe them anything. Like, if you don't have a relationship with this person, and you feel like, it depends on how quickly you feel like you have a relationship with the person, right? Like, I feel like if you've gone on 5 dates and it takes you a really long time to develop into like a relationship, like you shouldn't feel obligated to say something. Do you not agree?
I actually disagree. Yeah. But maybe this is where my compassionate soul comes in.
Go. Yeah.
Like, okay, so I think that ghosting, like, I think it's easy to just at least write a note that says, like, this is great, I had a good time, but I'm not interested, and then move on. Like, it doesn't take that long to write that. I think actually the range of when it's okay to ghost, I think earlier the better versus waiting 5 to 8.
Well, obviously,
Yeah.
earlier the better, but when do you think the cutoff is?
Well, I think for me personally, if I wasn't interested in a guy after the second date, I would just stop dating them.
But
I
you
wouldn't
would
even
ghost
go
them.
I would just be like, I'm not interested.
You would tell them?
Yeah.
Oh. Even
Yeah.
after 2 dates?
Yeah. Like, so I had one experience where it was like the second date, and then he was asking about going on a third date, and I was like, should I go on this third date? I'm not like that interested, or I don't feel like the chemistry or anything. And so I like sent him the message, and of course he didn't respond to that because he felt sad. But
okay.
I feel like that's better than not responding. I feel like the only time I wouldn't respond is I felt like the person was actually a terrible person and I didn't like them. Then that's when I would be okay ghosting.
But what if it's not as direct? What if they just like texted you after, or like, but it wasn't to like organize a date or anything. It was just like, oh, like, how are you doing? How's your day? Like that kind of thing. Like, and you'd only gone on a few, like, less than a handful of dates with them. Like, do you really need to reply?
You don't need to, but I think at that point, if I realized I didn't like them, I would just text them back and say, hey, I'm good. I had a good time, but I'm sorry, I'm not interested.
But do you think it's morally wrong to ghost? I don't think it's morally wrong.
Is it morally wrong?
I think it would be wrong after you feel like you had it doesn't have to be like even like romantic relationship if you're dating, like even if you feel like you had like a rapport, after you feel like you have a relationship with them, then like maybe not good to ghost.
Maybe this is me just not being fully jaded, or like when I was dating, I wasn't jaded to the point where I was like, yeah, I don't really care. Like, I feel like it also comes with like having been in it for a long time and being like, this is like the 175th person that I've been talking to. And so I feel like in my dating experience, I wasn't dating like super long to get to the point where I was like, okay, just like to stop or not respond to someone. So maybe it just depends on the person and their dating journey. Okay. I think the time where it's okay to ghost for me is when I'm still messaging in the app. If I had met the person in person and I had like a one-on-one conversation with them and built like somewhat of a connection, then I would definitely not ghost.
You're so responsible.
Yeah. But I think I'm okay with ghosting if it's just in the app still.
Okay.
Because I definitely did that.
Yeah.
I didn't really build a connection with them. Yeah. So how about breakups and like how much time is needed to recover from that before starting to date? I'm curious.
Rebound? Yeah. No time is too early. Go whatever you want. I think you do need to like process things though. Yeah. And be pretty healed to start dating again. Seriously.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think it kind of goes back to what we were saying about having kind of worked through the baggage a bit and understand it before entering, because otherwise it's going to be an endless cycle of finding like the same kind of toxic person potentially. I think when like people say like you should heal for half the amount of time that you were in that relationship for, which I think that's totally false. Like for example, if you're in a relationship for like 6 years, people say you should heal for like 3 years before you start dating.
I think you're the only person who's ever said that.
Yeah.
To me. And I'm like, I don't think that's true.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So I think it's all just based off the person and like when they feel they're ready.
If you're an efficient processor, whenever you feel like you have processed things and have moved through your baggage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like truly though, sometimes you can like delude yourself maybe. Like whenever you feel like you've truly processed things and are able to move on.
Right. Yeah. And I think like it doesn't have to be 100% there, but like more than half. Nice. And like because I don't think it makes sense to continue just like
wallowing
wasting time, wallowing. Might as well just get out there and talk to people. At least build a connection with someone. It doesn't have to lead to anything.
I think after you break up, well, you'll get really skinny because you won't be eating.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to be really hot. And then you could have a glow up. And then after that, take a few weeks to process your emotions. Get a therapist if you need to.
Go on some solo trips.
Solo trips.
Those are so helpful.
If you're introspective.
Yeah.
Get a rebound. Those are helpful too. Then you're ready. Like, you'll be great.
Yeah.
Right as rain.
Yeah, and I think it actually helps to, when you start the process, it helps to get over the breakup even more.
Yeah.
So I actually definitely recommend doing that. Okay, another question that's very common is, should I wait for him to commit or move on?
I think this is context dependent.
True.
I think it depends on a lot of things, like what phase of your life did you meet? What phase of your life are you in now? Mm-hmm. Like the reasons why they might be not wanting to commit, whether they're acceptable to you or not, whether how tight you feel like you're crunched on time, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of variables to this. But in my personal opinion, you should not wait for him. What a waste of time. There's so many fish in the sea. Of course, if you live in a small town and you feel like, I think it's probably tougher when you have less optionality.
Yeah.
Like the many fish in the sea is like a more like larger metropolitan area mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the challenge too, especially in like heterosexual relationships, like I think men probably are like waiting for a certain period in their life where they feel like, okay, I am moving on to this stage of being in a committed long-term relationship. I'm moving on to the stage of like getting married soon, having kids, and then that's when they're like, okay, I'm ready to like commit. Mm-hmm. Versus women, I think they're a lot more like forward planning, so they're thinking about this stuff like years in advance. Mm-hmm. And so I think
so true.
Yeah. So it comes to like basically like alignment between when like the guy is ready to move on to that next stage and when the girl, or like it's like that alignment between the two.
Wait, I've never thought about it that way before because guys don't really need to plan it at all. They can just like decide and then the next day they can be committed. Yeah. So like they don't need to plan anything.
Yeah, they don't. And then like they don't have to deal with the whole biological timeline thing.
That's so inconsiderate of them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But you're so right. It's like a whole... It's not because they're inconsiderate. It's because their priorities are not aligned.
Yeah, priorities are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's also like the state of maturity of where they are in that, their own timeline to, or their own like phase of life that impacts that. And I think like what you're saying, there are several factors. Like if the range of like misalignment is very large, then I don't think it makes sense to continue with that person. Yeah. If the range of misalignment is like kind of off, but like all other factors of that person is good, then maybe it's not a good idea to move on. Kind of work on it together. But yeah, it does take a lot of nuances, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's challenging between men and women sometimes.
Yeah, I guess it depends on, like you said, like how off you feel like your timing versus their timing is. Yeah. And how much of a rush you're in.
All right. How about this one? Why do men pull away after things seem to be going well?
I think it depends on how severe them like backing off goes. I think there's a couple of reasons, in my opinion. Yeah. One is they might think that they have you in the bag, and men are only attracted to the chase. Yeah. So they feel like, oh, I don't need to chase anymore. I don't need to make any effort. I feel like that's pretty delicate. That's when you like start retracting your energy, and like they have to chase again. But that could be one reason. Another reason could be like you are misreading the situation, and they just don't think they should keep seeing you. That is also a valid reason. Yeah. The third reason could be like, honestly, life events. Like, the third one is like not intentional. The third one is like they might just have like gotten really busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's true that the way men and women date in general is very different. I think men like see what they want and they invest very early, and they like put a lot of effort for people that they're interested in. I think women in general, it kind of have to like, it starts low and then goes high, where it's like they have less investment, but then once they meet that person, they get more and more invested and try a lot harder. So it's almost like a opposite like behavior for men and women, which I find really interesting. I think a large part of it is men are, as you said, very attracted to the chase part of it. Like it's kind of like a natural biological instinct.
Do you think that's a stereotype? Like I think I believe that, but I don't know if that's like a stereotype or like if it's true.
I think it's generally true. That like, I don't know, I think maybe it's kind of like an instinct for men that they appreciate the things that they have to work for. Yeah. It's a very masculine quality. Okay. And I think women have that quality too, but I think when it comes to like dating, the people that someone has to work for is more attractive to them. Yeah. But then once they get that thing, then it's like, all right, I don't need to work as hard because I have it, so I can like focus on other things now. Like that's my opinion on why. Our final question is, do you believe that nice guys finish last? My short answer is I do believe nice guys finish last, and let me explain.
Okay.
So I think there's a difference between a nice guy and a good guy.
Okay.
So a nice guy is someone who gives off like desperate and is very insecure, and they're very like,
exactly.
Yeah, and they're very like, oh my god, I need to get this girl, so I need to do whatever I need to do to like impress her, and they become kind of like leeches in a way, like they just become which is really, I have had experienced someone like that before, and and it's very unattractive. But a good guy is someone who is kind, right?
Yeah.
And they know their boundaries, they know who they are. Kind of going back to what we were talking about what we would want for ourselves, is like they know who they are as a person, they know what they bring to the table, but they're also a very kind, genuine person. And so I think what we should gravitate toward is finding the good guy, you know, who has these qualities, and not the person who is nice for the sake of just trying to impress you and be like overly desperate and insecure. So I would say TLDR, I do think that the nice guy finishes last, because no one is attracted to someone who is desperate and lacks confidence. So
yeah. I think the nice guy definition for women is, like you said, like the desperate, lacking confidence. It's not like actually being nice. Like being nice is a good thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, our podcast says different. Kind, not nice, you know? Right?
Yeah, but I think like being nice, being nice can sometimes be like, the word is a little bit performative, but I think like it's okay.
So the kind guy, maybe the kind guy is the good. Kind is like the good guy.
I agree. Yeah. Nice guys, a little bit of an ache.
Yeah. That concludes our first episode on the Advice Column series. Let us know if you have any other burning, spicy questions about dating which you may need advice on, and we can make another episode on it. See you in the next episode.